What's up, y'all? This is NVP with Juxtapose. I have a question. If everything could be faked, what can we believe? We're going to talk about it today. Stay tuned.
We're here to talk about something that is becoming very prevalent to the point where, you always got to ask the question, is this AI or is it not? Today, we take on the world of deepfakes and what that means.
Deepfakes.
So, you don't even know if I'm real. Am I real?
I mean, who are you, first of all?
That's what I'm saying, My name is KStylez. I have my co-host, NVP.
Whoop, whoop.
And yeah, we're talking about the deep fake thing. I mean, I think in the rise of AI, I think it's become such a common thing that people don't take it seriously. But like, there's actually some real world ramifications as a result. So, I mean, I guess before we jump in, do you feel like you've had a lot of experience with this, and what is your initial feelings on that?
I've noticed the deep fake technology going rampant. And I am a little concerned because now I have to ask myself, is this real with pretty much everything I see at this point, right? Maybe not everything, but a lot of things I'm like, yo, the fact that I even have to ask the question, is this real? And then, as I was thinking about that to myself, I'm like, yo, I know there's a saying, believe it when I see it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that used to be it. Now, I don't think we can say that anymore.
Yeah, no, we got to throw that statement out the window because, I mean, you can see a lot of things at this point, and some of it, is not even real. So, and this is, it was trending, I think at the point when we were recording this, it was a couple days ago, but President Trump had an interview where he was talking to this reporter, and they were talking about the guy who was deported to El Salvador, and he was saying that, if you look at it, we'll put up the picture, but if you look at his tattoos, it said MS-13 on his knuckles, and it was clearly a superimposed picture of them describing what each thing could mean. But to him, or the way he described it, he was essentially saying this was a real photo where he had MS-13 on his knuckles. And, it kind of prompted this conversation in my mind because as people who've grown up in tech and people who have been, our day jobs are in tech, there's a certain expectation where you're like, let me do my research. And we're seeing in this case, where this is the person at the highest job in the land, and
in the land,
clearly, unless he was just using this to make an argument,
do what he needed to do,
he believed that this was a real thing. And what does that mean for other things? And I don't want to just Trump's an old man, so we're not spend time just beating up on older people, but like. I do want to say for the record, like that is, you're very susceptible to that. And, what does that mean as the technology gets better? Like at one point you used to be able to tell when people do use deepfake technology that certain things were not real. Like you see like their eyes don't move the way they're supposed to. The mouth doesn't necessarily look like a human mouth.
It doesn't line up.
It doesn't, things that, shadows don't move. But like, We've already established some deeper level of analysis that was required.
Do you remember the old school martial arts movies?
Oh my god!
Where the voice
dubbed, yeah.
And so I'm like, that's kind of what I would be looking for. Hey, does the mouth match the voice?
Yeah, but now it's getting to the point where that's not even a thing. It feels like we're stuck in a Black Mirror episode.
Ooh.
If someone said you did something, you can literally be incriminated in doing something you had nothing to do.
Well, I want to mention a movie I seen.
Okay.
I think it's G20.
Oh, yeah. We did talk about it. I haven't seen it yet.
So, spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear this part, stay and hear it anyway. Because we want everybody.
I didn't see that coming at all.
We want everybody to stay. But I'm not going to spoil it crazy. But just one part of the movie from the technology standpoint, they had a bunch of politicians in the room and they wanted them to say this phrase, right? Where if you say this phrase, it'll address every word or sound in the dictionary. If you say that, you'll be able to do with that person's voice whatever you want to do, right? And it was crazy because it was like, imagine being at a party and a politician is saying like, yo, we're going to do all these bad things to the Americans, right? And you got somebody with a camera, like in 4K, up on their face, recording all of that. In my mind, if I was someone outside of this looking in, I'm like, it's no way they just talking reckless. You gotta know that's a fake. But in the movie, everybody believed it. So,
well, I mean, and that's just the thing. I think we've gotten to the point too where like technology is going way further than our ideas of the limitations, right? Because like, you know, the idea that you're literally using AI to create a whole world that someone can believe is real is a real scary thing.
yeah.
You know, and another point here is like at one point I think we're first introduced to the deepfake thing. It was kind of a funny moment. It was a joke. It was something that you would see somebody. It would be obvious that it was just like not real and meant to be like comedic. Now I feel like we've gotten to the point where you can use it for anything. Like that example, I mean, in the movie.
Yeah.
But that example could be a real thing. And what can really prevent what could prevent any of this stuff from happening?
Well, I was gonna say, and you say real world, right? There's an example of Shador Sanders, which I don't know if y'all know, but he's like a football player, and his father is Deion Sanders, right? Legendary football player. And so there's a situation where he was on the podium doing interviews. And you know how he got his hat backwards. You know how they interview football players, and there's an actual real interview of whatever he was saying. They took that same clip and added, I guess, AI voice. Sounds like him, right? They matched it up with his mouth movement somehow, which I'm assuming they used AI to make his mouth move with the words.
Okay.
And he was saying the craziest stuff like, yeah, hey, everybody in the league, and I'm paraphrasing, but like everybody in the league sucks. I'm that guy. Pick me to be the quarterback. I'm going to be the best. Everybody else is going to be trash. Da 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 da. And I'm like, mind you, they didn't put no, this is AI stamp on it. It looks real. But just common sense, I'm like, yo, it's no way he would just blatantly disrespect everybody in the football league. It's no way. But it looked like him. It sounded like him. It's dangerous, yo.
But that's the thing. You know, like, there's a lot of people, I think by nature, we're inquisitive people.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people who are not. So there's someone who would see that, and that would be what really happened. And that's the scariest part of all of this, because you can have stuff happen. I feel like we're full of opportunities of people just doing ridiculous stuff anyway. But imagine if somebody came out and said, you said this thing, and that's the only point you ever heard about this person. They would walk away from that situation thinking this dude's really an asshole. And it's not even real. Like, where do we get to, where do we draw that line? And that's the scary part. That's literally the scary part for me. And there's multiple things about this that I feel like we could dive into, because you know, like, there's one thing when we were researching this is like a lot of stories of women's faces being replaced on like bodies of other sex workers or whatever, and now you're having nude pictures of you that's not real.
Yes. Yeah.
That's probably the most prevalent one, that happens a little bit more frequently.
I think there was a big one about, I want to say, what's her name? Taylor Swift.
Really?
Yeah, there was a big one that came out about her, and they were like, yo, that's not really her.
But somebody believes it is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about this more from a discovery standpoint. I don't know if we have a solution, because technology is getting way better. The things we can do with AI now versus the things we could do with AI 2 years ago is literally night and day. So it's only going to get better with time. Or
worse in some...
Well, The
better,
technology would become better,
but
how we use it could be worse.
and that's the thing. How do we use it? Because obviously using it for like putting somebody's face on somebody else is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a way where that would be beneficial, like using AI period for something. Why would I need Shador Sanders' voice to be saying something different than what he actually would say? What would we use that for in a positive way?
One positive way that it was used was the hologram of Pac,
Okay.
so that you were able to bring
Okay.
somebody back from a time period that you weren't before, or be able to, if you're really into classical music, you can hear Beethoven explain something that he made, right? Like,
So from a nostalgic standpoint.
from that standpoint. The other thing is, right now when we think of training and training documents and training videos, they're normally recorded from the space of that space and time. So whatever technology or whatever's going on in, let's say, November of 2025, I don't know why I went all the way to November, but that's
Oh, that hasn't happened yet?
yeah, I know. I don't know why that's what I said. I don't know why November came up, but like, let's say November 2024 for argument.
There we go. All right.
In November 2024, the world may change differently. So if you have this kind of AI thing where I'm thinking more like Star Trek, right? Where like you have a hologram that's able to give you updated information.
Okay.
And it's synthesizing the information as it's doing it. And it's like you're actually talking to a person. That's a positive use of this.
Well, let's dive into that just briefly, because I feel like I've seen it in some type of show or movie where that person's, what am I talking about? Superman.
Okay.
So his actual father from the planet, whatever the damn planet is called,
can't remember the
Krypton.
name. Yeah, I feel like I should know the name.
Yeah, we should know. I hope the comic book people
we're gonna get canceled.
don't cancel me, but Krypton, I know it. So his father, there's a hologram of his father, and he's talking to him about all these things, right? Now, fast forward into like actual like real life. Would it be dangerous if your parents pass away, say, or a loved one? We don't have to be specific, a loved one, and now you have that loved one talking to you as if they're really alive. From a emotional, mental standpoint, wouldn't that be dangerous?
I mean, possibly, but also remember, if you lose somebody, and a lot of times we have very limited things from them. We have you may be lucky to have a voicemail. You may be lucky to have a video. I mean, now because of technology, we have a lot more video of people than we did before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that a negative thing per se? Like,
well, I think just two parts, right? One part is if you, like, because you said not having a voicemail, there are some loved ones where I'm like, dang, I don't even remember their voice anymore, right? I guess what I'm alluding to is like understanding, and I hate to use the word fake, so I'm gonna use the word AI. That's not like, I think some people would get attached to almost thinking
this is the person
that they're really,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that once we start going down that realm, there's a whole nother thing there, and I could see that being a potential problem. But
Okay, think
about the person who lost somebody that was such an important part to their life that it paralyzes them, and by having this, even though they know it's not real, but having this allows them to at least work through the grief. Like, I still think that's a better use than making Taylor Swift nude, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a way better use of that technology. And I think the hologram thing is something that I think would be interesting to see how we adopt that in the future. And that's the one area, I guess that still falls into deepfake AI technology, but that's one area I'd like to see, because like, if we're able to, ask, like, imagine if you ask one of your home assistants and it pops up and you're now talking to a person instead of like just a voice out of a box.
that
like,
hits different.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I think in that case, you would probably end up with a space where people have agreed to be actors for that role. So like, they recorded themselves and it was actually done with their permission versus like, their image being, recreated.
Well,
So
because I was going to say, it made me think of the whole Drake situation with Tupac and Snoop Dogg, where one, Snoop Dogg is literally alive,
yeah,
and I had this beef with somebody else, and I use your voice to continue the beef. I don't think Snoop gave Drake permission to do that.
well, no, but I think that there's a space from a creative standpoint, which is where I think Snoop went. Is like, yo, I appreciate that he would do something like this, right? Like,
Mm.
even though I don't think Kendrick did, because Kendrick was like,
Don't you ever?
the Snoop,
Don't you ever
Snoop
use
posted
Tupac?
Tailor Made.
Yeah.
I thought it was the edibles. It was like he felt the way about that, but I think they talked about it and they they squashed it. But yeah, no, it's a thing. I mean, where does it stop, right? Like, who's to say someone can't take a whole like Biggie imprint of his voice and create a whole project that's not him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a scary thing to start thinking about, especially from an artist standpoint, because you could potentially devalue the work that you're doing because someone thought they could do it with a fake.
Yeah, because I was even thinking about I saw, and people might have seen this, Timberland. He's in the studio, whatever. He's like, man, I need a woman to sing this part right here. And then somebody's like, oh, well, you can just use this program. And they use the program. He's like, oh yeah, that's what I need. And I'm like, damn, well then now you're taking the artist out of everything, right?
Yeah.
Like if you could just AI a voice, what do you need an artist for? And that's what like really concerns me too, because I'm like, damn, bro, like I get it if you needed to do that in the moment because you just don't have any connections. But I would be concerned if you're kind of like, it's almost like the whole thing, and I'm using quotation marks, taking people jobs. Mm-hmm. If nobody needs to be an artist anymore because AI can write the rap, AI can spit the bars, you don't have to pay AI. You kind of like, what's then as a person who makes music, it's like, damn, what's the point?
Yeah, but I think we're a long way away from like a complete replacement of people in that field, especially with things like art. I do think we're gonna see people get replaced in jobs that don't need to be there. Like, just like one point there was a job that was just a switchboard operator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally your job was to answer the call and move it to another place. That's not a thing that happens anymore. Right. So I think there's going to be a balance of some of the jobs and some of the things are going to be removed, and it's going to lead to a different environment. But like, I don't think it's all bad. I do think there are some aspects of it that are bad, but it's not all bad.
Do you remember the AI artist they made?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
I remember you talking about that. I think we talked about that in this already, in Juxtapose already.
And so I see how that failed horribly.
One of the things is you have to remember, I think when things change or when new things are introduced and it's the hot thing, everybody's like, oh my God, everything, like even with AI, we've heard, I mean.
AI's been around for so long.
It's been a thing that existed for a long time, but now you're even watching companies rebrand something that they already did as AI just to be a part of the buzz. And it's like, that's the thing. So that's why I'm like, I'm sure there's legitimate reasons for concern, because there are going to be things that are literally affected by this. But I'm intrigued to see what it looks like when it stabilizes a little bit. Just like all the other initiatives that happened at different times that people were like, this is it. The work from home is where we're at. We're never going back to the office. And then, now it's like,
yeah,
we're going back to the office. Like those are the areas where it's like, I would love to see what this looks like when some time has passed.
I'm sorry. I just had a, you know how some meetings you be in and you be like, yo, why am I here? Mm-hmm. What if I had an AI that had me in the meeting
that was just
as a placeholder?
I mean, that is a viable option.
Is that value? Like, yo, like, hey, could y'all make that real quick? And if a question was asked, almost like you're asking Alexa something, it would prompt me to say something, and it would be my actual voice. It'd be actually my face, but actually, I'll be over
It's
here
not a bad
like
idea.
watching football or something.
That's not bad. I think that if we think about it as, I feel like this is the second podcast of me talking about using things as a tool. If we think
Okay.
about it as a tool that we can use to get back some of our time and be more efficient for stuff, then that's not a bad thing.
Um, I hear you, but no, you better be on the call. Don't bring no AI in front of me.
I'm just saying, if here's the thing, if the AI can
Do
get to
everything
the
you-
information faster, why not?
Nah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I was joking, but nah, I don't like it because it's like I also want to feel that connection when I meet with people sometimes.
Yeah, and that's, you could do that face to face, but you don't need to do that in a meeting.
I feel like there's some personal feelings that you might
No,
have
no,
about
I just-
meetings. Where
I
you're
do
like-
think that people's first response to a lot of stuff is that, oh, let's schedule a meeting and talk about this. I'm like,
Yes,
This
yes,
could have been an email.
yes.
This
That
could have
is
been a
real
voice
thing.
note.
That's a real thing.
So that's my thing. I mean, I think there's 100% a need for human connection, and we should never lose that.
Okay,
We should never lose that.
and that's kind of where I'm hitting on. Like,
Yeah.
hey, if AI gets to a certain point, you do lose that human element. And I think some people's argument is that humans make mistakes.
Yeah,
But doesn't AI make mistakes?
it does, but it's still relatively new. I mean, we're so far along, but so far from what it can do that I think like it's a thing. Plus, I mean, there's the thing you described just now about like humans making mistakes is a perfect example. Like humans are programming this thing, so there's gonna be certain things that biases and stuff like that AI is gonna be automatically programmed to do. So, or be able to find based on the stuff that they're scraping. I mean, if you watch, Age of Ultron or all of these situations where
Okay.
people where robots start looking at all the stuff that we have said or all the stuff that we haven't, published, we can go down a very dark road, right?
Hey,
So,
I was saying chat, right? I ain't going to say the last part of it. But chat, if you know, you know.
okay.
Talking to chat, I'm like, I'm starting to think you know everything. Is there a space where like I'll say, hey, look me up, and you give me a bunch of information about myself? Obviously, you got to prompt it, right? And I'm like, that would be dangerous
Why?
because you're making it super easy. Like, at least when you had to like do some background checks on somebody, you would have to know where to go to do the background check, and you have to go through a couple things to get it. If I can just talk to chat and be like, yo, background check this guy, this girl, and it just give you that,
I don't see this as a bad thing.
really?
In all situations.
What if it violates your privacy? Like say for example, hey, give me the address to this person, and it gives
See,
you the address.
Yeah, see, I think there's a balance.
Okay.
The one thing I was gonna say is, I guess my caveat, as you brought that part up, is I think that in certain areas this would be beneficial. I think particularly in getting information about like politicians, like when you go to vote or you vote for somebody, a lot of times you're sitting there and you're like a bunch of names, right? Because you're voting for that whole election period.
Mhm.
If I had a way of saying, hey, how did this person vote in the last three things that I care about? And it can give me all that information easily without having to like decipher or read through a lot of stuff, then that's good. But the problem with that is that's easy to be tampered with. So there's a lot of nuances there. But I do feel like being able to say, okay, well, I met this person. This person is a salesperson that's selling me on something. And I could say, hey, give me a little background on this person. And it provides me that information. Is that necessarily a bad thing?
No.
Because I think
From that standpoint, no.
Yeah, I think that there is a divide where it's like, give me this person's social security number. Like that's the problem.
And this goes into the protection privacy rights.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know how much AI has on protection and privacy, to be honest, because it is fairly new. So I don't know what that is, but
I think
that is a concern, right?
Yeah, I think there's some spaces where there's some guardrails. I think that a lot of people have made arguments that the guardrails are not as good as they need to be at this point, especially with the high levels of adoption that we have And even to the point where it's like some people are being graded on their success at work on the ability to use AI. And so like, there needs to be more guardrails, but
There is another aspect where I feel like when things are real, like it is real, and people think it's fake. And this can even go into like scripting, right? Oh, this was I see this a lot, and it kind of annoys me because sometimes people are really like moving in reality, and then sometimes things are script, right? And I'm like, we're in a space now where this can genuinely be something real.
yeah.
And somebody was like, no, that's AI. You didn't really do that backflip, or you didn't really jump over that car.
Well, I mean, realistically, I don't do we blame AI for that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's a social thing first, like a social media thing first, because one of the things about social media is people do things that go viral, right?
Yeah.
And so you could do something and someone would be like, oh, you just put that together to go viral,
Yeah.
or something happened to you, and you recorded
Just
the general, like say for example, if we're just sitting here, right, and something crazy happens and it goes viral, someone would say, oh, they scripted that because they're doing the podcast. I'm like, no, actually, we were sitting here, something happened,
and it went,
and it caused it to go viral.
Well, it's funny because I think of I realize I've become a very politically focused person, but I look at the whole fake news conversation,
Okay.
where that started getting applied to things that were clearly not fake. Like it was clearly not fake. Did he say this thing? No, it's fake news. Like I mean,
checked.
Yeah, I
Fact
think
checked,
that even
yeah.
fact checking has become a tool of, oh, this person is oppressing my freedom of speech. We've ended up in a space that actually creates a wonderful breeding ground for all the craziness that could happen with AI. Because if you can see something that I see, and because you don't agree with it, you're calling it fake news, then when somebody creates something fake,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like at that point, who's to say that it's real or not? Because
Well-
if the real thing was fake, why can't the fake thing be real?
Well, and this is where the dilemma comes into play, because I recall seeing something. Social media is just all over the place, but
Yeah.
like something like a meme or whatever you want to call it, video on Instagram, and it was people falling out of like a big boat and falling into the water, and the boat was like topsizing or whatever it's called.
Capsizing?
Yeah, capsizing, whatever it's called. Turn it over, about to, like, it looked like people were like about to not be alive anymore. And I'm like, the way it was marketed was as if it just happened. And I'm like, I haven't heard anything about this, but the water's choppy. People are like, fall. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I haven't heard nothing about this. So boom, go to fact check it, quotations, fake news. They even know what I'm talking about. They're like, hey, this is just AI somebody made. I'm like, why would you just make that?
I mean, I think that people are also testing to see how far they can get with stuff and how much people believe it. I mean, I just think, one of the things that we mentioned in our production meeting was like, the thing for me that is like, we're not using this as effectively enough, because this, like, GTA should look like a real person is running around. Like, if we're gonna use it for something, let's use it for a game, right?
Yo, somebody was saying, I want to say it was Kai and that he was like, yo, if at this point you should be able to have a baby in GTA.
Damn.
Like, and he said some other things I'm not gonna say, but
Yeah, of course.
he's like, yo, it should be so real where like, yo, you can get pregnant in there. And I was like, I'm like, hey, the technology should allow you.
It's possible.
You know what? To keep it something I'm actually like, I be feeling some type of way about the CGI in movies. Hey, if someone in their, I hate to say this, but their mama's basement, because no disrespect to people in their mama's basement. Hey,
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. And they're able to create these things that they create with AI. I don't understand how you can have a movie studio that's putting in millions and thousands and whatever amount of some money, and the CGI be looking so bad.
Yeah, but you have to remember the cost of some of this stuff to do it for longer periods, and that's why it's
Okay.
getting interesting as some of the cost comes down as technology gets better. But if you think about it, like one sequence in, like, let's say a Marvel movie, right?
Yeah.
Where there's so many things moving on. There's real life actors playing roles. There's like an augmented reality thing where they're doing green screen and stuff like that. So the processing for that, I mean, that has also gotten better. Because at one point it was really bad in general. It's gotten better, but it's also in a place where there's a lot. It costs a lot to do that for that time period. Versus like the video you saw, I guarantee you it was no longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was a quick one. Yeah.
So they just need to make something look real enough for a fraction of the time. Versus like the average runtime in a movie is like 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's multiple scenes, it's multiple cameras. Sometimes too, when you're shooting stuff,
Multiple actors.
yeah, you're shooting stuff with real life people. There's a place where you had to do certain stuff. I remember, I think it was even Superman. There was a point in one of the Superman movies where he had a beard because he's working on another movie. So they
and he couldn't cut the beard.
Yeah. So they removed the beard with CGI and it made it look weird. Like you see his face, like if you look really hard, you could see it. But I mean, I think we're getting there, but
What about that movie? Sorry, that movie with Will Smith, and he was like trying to hunt down his younger self, or his younger self was trying to hunt him down.
oh yeah, that was another good one.
And it was like Will Smith was. It was weird. You could
de-aged him,
tell. That's not how Will Smith looked when he was younger, but it did look like him.
Yeah,
I thought that was just. It was just an interesting experience to see that.
we're getting. I mean, that's the thing that's interesting, and it's the most interesting, fascinating, and terrifying part about this.
Yes.
Is that the technology is getting better. That movie that you're talking about, I think, came out in like 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, it's older.
So
it definitely came out before COVID.
Before COVID. So think about what it would look like now if he were to do it, right?
Yeah.
And what it's going to look like 10 years from now. Because especially as we get to like augmented reality and like I have a Meta Quest. And honestly, the thing that I'm able to do with that is like it's far surpasses a lot of things that I think that I would be able to do.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Commanders. Shout out to my football team.
Yeah, okay.
Whoop, whoop. Jaden Daniels uses VR
To practice?
Yeah, and so they were saying that like some coach or whatever on another team recommended that another quarterback use that.
Mm-hmm.
And based on my understanding, a lot of people don't use this.
Well, yeah, it's relatively new.
It's relatively new. And I'm like, yo, you're and they're able to simulate one, the field in like actually making your calls and throwing, but they're also able to speed it up. Mm-hmm. So when you actually get into real time, things are slower for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, why wouldn't you want to use that? Obviously, it probably costs money too.
Yeah.
Like it probably costs money. Like,
good one, yeah.
Especially if it's NFL, they're not getting no weak VR.
Yeah.
It's some real stuff. But he was using it in college. So at least college has the money to do it. So obviously NFL can do it. And I'm like, and this might be going a little bit outside of it, but kind of still on topic. Mm-hmm. Is that cheating?
No, I don't think so.
Hey.
Is watching film cheating?
I mean,
it's an integral part of
it is an
football.
integral part, but I've heard stories of like, hey, some person went and watched somebody's practice that was supposed to be private.
Well, see that, yeah, there's parts of it that's always going to be a thing, but I feel like you could watch the game. You could literally watch someone play and say, okay, well, based on what I see, when they get to fourth or third down, they always run this play.
Yep.
So I'm gonna play knowing that so I'm gonna run this defense that can stop that play, and they can't convert.
And if they change the play in mid, we'll have our backup play.
I think that I don't think that that's cheating. I don't think that's cheating at all, because I think that we have the ability to experience a lot of different things, right? And I think
Okay.
that by going through that experience, you get more experience, and so you know what to do. It's like, if you walk in your room at night and you stub your toe on your side table, right?
Yeah.
The next time you walk in there at night, you may not stub your toe on that side table, but you might stub it on the dresser, right?
Okay.
Saying it's cheating is like walking in the room and turning on the light and saying that's cheating.
Mm.
That's the equivalent. That's why I how I equivocate. Equivocate. You know the word.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
It might be. So okay, cool. Use
Equate.
that.
Equate. Oh my god, just my brain is slow. Go ahead.
Okay, use that thought, right? I've heard people say, and this could be even from a work and school standpoint, they're using AI, chat. Ooh, perfect example. There was this video I seen. The girl was in college, in school. Like the professor was like, "Hey, you ain't read this." She was like, "No, I just had chat or whoever the AI was to summarize it for me."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "No, that's cheating." And she's like, "But it would take me like I'm exaggerating, but like 5 weeks to figure this out. It took me a week, and I still get to the point."
Mm-hmm.
But the professor considered that cheating.
But academics, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Okay.
Because here's the deal: I think we're in the age where calculators in class was a thing, but it was still not as widely acceptable, right?
You couldn't use a calculator at a certain point.
Correct. But the reasoning for some of that was so that at least you understand what to do, so that when you have the tools, you can say, okay, well, I know how when I'm doing this, I need to follow this first in order to do this. Because if you're just giving me the answer, that's why teachers a lot of times used to make you show your work.
I'm so glad you said that. I was trying to hold back and let you cook. Yo, the showing work has been, especially as we get older, has been a very thorn in the side of people. Because it's like, yo, if I get to the answer,
what does it matter?
And let's say you're not cheating to get the answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the answer. What does it matter if I show my work? So,
but I think it's important to understand how, right? It's like and I think we need to update our learning processes. But I think one of the main reasons you're doing like calculus and trigonometry and some of this stuff is to have you go through the experience of what it is to figure this, or algebra. How do you find X? Right? You need to go through that so your brain understands how to do that. Because truthfully, there's a lot, the next generation of kids who can able to skip some of this. The critical thinking required to do certain things is now not sharpened as it should. And that is one of the biggest issues, I think, with AI. It's like we had to write papers with 1,000 words, right? And
you had to go to a library.
Yeah, you had to do a bunch of stuff. But now people are able to do that and make it sound real. And it's like you have a thing to do and you have me write it for you and you pass it off as yours.
And sign my own name and that's yours.
Correct. And that's
the cheating aspect.
That's the cheating part of it. Or like, remember you're an author and you have AI completely write you a book that you're now putting out there as yours. That's a different thing. But if you're using AI to say, hey, I have this general idea, what opportunity do I have to experience this, or what different viewpoints can I give to this? That's a tool that's being used. It's all about how you use it.
Okay, I'm gonna mess your head up. I want you to get loose, loose, because I'm gonna mess your head up, and this is something that you are passionate about. Okay, you say that, right? Mm-hmm. As a rapper, can you use AI to write your bars?
I think you can use AI to help with your bars. And I know that like Lupe had did a project with Google where he had like a rhyme synthesizer. So you could put in a bunch of words and it would give you words that match that.
Okay.
I think it can be a tool. I think to have it right, there's this part of human experience that I don't feel like AI and technology has fully grasped yet. Is it impossible? No. At some point, I think we're going to get very close to where they fully understand and they're able to give us back what we would experience. I don't think we're there yet. So I mean I see the same thing with like this like the Timberland example is a perfect one, or there's other apps that like they create whole like melodies and stuff for you,
Uh-huh.
and it's to me like that feels like a tool that we can use, and I look at it like at one point people used to give you crap about using samples or using loops,
Okay.
and it's like
That's a real thing. Yeah.
and I mean we're going into the deep into the music culture, but that was a thing that people would go ham for. Oh, you just put that loop in there and put some drums, and I'm like, okay, but that's what if it created crafted the sound that I wanted, have I gotten to where I need to get to? Is it am I less of a producer if I use Fruity Loops over Logic or Pro Tools? You know what I'm saying? So it's a tool. At one point, you used to have to use tape, use real instruments and tape. You literally you record your stuff on the tape, and if you had to punch in, they would reel the tape back.
Woo!
Like,
oh my
we
gosh,
never
I'm
had to experience.
So
that.
glad I had to deal with that.
Going way off topic, but I think this goes back to literally what are you doing with music, and is it actually something you love, or are you just trying to mimic something else? But
well, I feel like you can equate that to what are you doing with AI? Are you trying to mimic something else? Or are you like, so for example, like you said, hey, if we're using it for school as a tool, are you trying to write your whole essay or whatever the project is that the professor want from you? Or are you using it to kind of, I like to think of it, hey, when I have like little like brain blanks, like I have an idea of what paper I want to write.
Yeah.
I have an idea of how to start it, but I'm like, I'm missing something. Boom, hit the tool.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to use it like that.
The lines around how we use it is still so blurred out because it's so new that I think people just feel strongly about it one way or the other. And I think that's not necessarily the right approach. I think right now we need to see where it goes. And I said that, like the switchboard analogy to me was the best because there were whole jobs of somebody go to work 9 to 5 just to move calls with a board. You pull it out, you plug it in, and then that person gets a call. We don't do that anymore. People used to have to sort mail. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, people still do that, but people used to have to sort mail manually by hand and then take it up to the mail room. Or like in New York, they had these, I think pneumatic tubes is what it's called, in the bottom of banks where they would fly it across.
Fly across.
And you don't got to do that anymore, right? I think technology is moving faster. There's a point where we didn't have freaking AC.
Oh, what?
We didn't have AC.
How long ago was that?
I mean, it wasn't that long ago if you think of technology.
Huh.
Under 100 years.
Okay. And that messes my head up too when you think like everything that's going on, like compared to how long the world has been around, everything's fairly new. To think that 100 years is new, it's crazy to me because obviously, people don't even live that long.
The modern air conditioning system was invented in 1902. So a little bit more than 100 years.
But still, it's like
not that long.
If you compare it to, just how long the world's been around, right?
Yeah.
And all these things that happen, right? I can understand that. So with because for example, people say AI is new, right?
Yeah.
I heard about AI in like freaking college.
Yeah. I mean, we've had so much.
Is that really new? But it is though.
It's new because it's becoming used in a regular, like people who are outside of tech now are using it as much as other people are. And before it was this big, large thing that everybody heard about. Maybe, you heard of I would say I Am Legend. What's the one with Will Smith? iRobot.
Oh, iRobot. Okay.
iRobot, right? And there's so many. The Terminator. We've been hearing about this for a long time, and it's just that now it's getting closer to reality. But I still on a slightly connected road. Where are our flying cars? By now we were supposed to have flying cars. Our cars can barely fly, but at the same token, we planes can barely fly.
I'm not gonna lie. I do like the fact that they can kind of navigate themselves right now.
The cars?
Yeah, like you can it'll detect. I think was it Tesla?
Yeah.
Is it Tesla that can drive itself?
Well, they're not full self-driving. They keep saying that they're close to full self-driving, but there are other companies that are pretty close.
Because I've seen some streamers streaming, talking, driving, and their hands are not on the wheel, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have a Tesla, so what's going on here?
Yeah, there's a couple ones. I mean, I was telling you about that. There's a company I saw recently when I went to LA that has like autonomous taxis, and I drove past one. I'm like, there's legitimately no one in there.
No one in?
No one.
I guess my thing is you're supposed to get in it
Yeah, it's a taxi.
and he'll take you to your destination.
Yeah.
I don't know,
But
bro.
with just, I mean, truthfully, that situation might have implications from a safety standpoint. Is going to be way higher. Like, you don't have to deal with like, I think of almost every accident I've been in has been as a result of some human error. Imagine if I don't have that human error anymore.
I got one for you.
Okay, please.
I've seen people follow GPS and it leads them off a bridge.
Okay, first of all, have you actually seen that in real life, or is it a movie? Because that does not sound real.
This is like news.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
And the reason why I'm bringing it up because it came up like a month ago, and they're like, "Yo, they were following." Which there's two parts, right? One, you ain't looking with your eyes because you're relying so much on technology that you're not looking with your eyes. But anyway, the technology said, "Hey, turn here, go here," and I guess there was road work, and the bridge just ended.
Damn.
And they went off, and I'm like, "This is not a movie." And I'm like,
that does not sound real, but that's crazy.
So, like, yes, technology, especially like you said, is new. It can be wrong.
Well, I think that we have also gotten to the place where we have access to way more stuff, and we've gotten very lazy. Because back when you had to use a MapQuest, or you had to print out the
sheet, 1 to 2 pages.
That was if you missed it's weird though, because if you missed your stop, then you're screwed. You're screwed, or you have to go back.
It don't give you a U-turn.
Go back to the map and try to find a spot. Whereas now people just don't know what to do, and so I mean, technology is probably making us a little bit dumber. But
for sure. Technology, I think, is making us dumber a little bit.
The question is, to go back to the deepfake thing.
Okay.
And I said this initially, but like, how do we fix this? Is there a way where we can fix this? Is there a way where the government can fix this? I don't know. I'm asking this question to you, but also to the world, because I don't have the answer.
All right, let me give you the answer.
Okay, please. I'm intrigued.
And I really don't have the answer, but let's have some fun. I think that the way to fix it is, I think the easiest way is to have the watermark. Like, we're talking about, let's say, video at this point. There needs to be a watermark, and I don't know how you can enforce it, but there needs to be something that indicates it's AI.
But that's the thing. It's like there's speed limit to ensure that people drive at the speed. How often have people broken the speed limit?
Well, then the reason why people at least do better with the speed limit is because they give tickets.
Yeah, we gotta get caught first.
So we're not talking about how people get caught, though. We're talking about, hey, if you do get caught. So if you're using AI, and same thing with the professor, and he caught the girl using it to summarize. You have to, and there has to, hey, if the rule is, hey, you can't use AI to do this, then when she gets caught, you have to make an example out of her.
I get it, but I feel like that works for like day-to-day citizens and situations like that.
Okay.
My biggest concern is when we start using this at like a geopolitical level, and someone is putting out videos of a president of a country saying something that could lead us to war, and there's no level of fact-checking that we can do, because in most cases, when people hear some of this stuff, they're making decisions based on this. And unless you could get on the phone with a person, imagine if that had happened with two people who really don't like each other. Like two countries, like, they really don't like each other, and they go to war as a result of a fake thing. How can you control that? Like, no watermark would have saved you in that case.
I think there is a level of like, there will be no control.
Yeah.
Because you could say that, I mean, especially if we're talking about the war thing, you could say that, like, even with the speed limit, I think was a great example. Yo, as much as they put cameras, as much as they put fines and everything, people are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is a level of, hey, one, they do have the terms and agreements and stuff, which is a level of making sure everything has that. Two, if someone is caught, quote unquote, using the tools incorrectly, it should be called out. Or maybe we just bring back shaming people. Hey, like I don't think shaming people is a real thing anymore. So hey, if you are using AI to give people fake news, are you a real journalist?
Well, but by that token, so I do think that in 20, like the whole pandemic time period, there was an active attempt by social media to be able to call things out as fake. And
Okay.
we saw them in the most recent election. You saw a lot of the social media companies go away from their fact checking because they're like, well, the fact checking is it's not necessarily as helpful as we want it to be. But they've essentially removed the guardrails for some of this stuff. So if the companies are not adhering to it, the government is allowing it to happen. How far is it going to go? And that's a scary question.
Well,
So,
I mean, the government is not even checking people's hand tattoos. So, I mean, that's a little hard to
it's a hard
have
level.
faith in that. But I still think like it's probably gonna be more of a like a people society type of thing, like holding ourselves responsible.
Yeah, I'm just worried about when this happens and has very large implications across the world, and we're still not even at the real solid use of this stuff yet, and that's the scary part. I mean, I'm not here to sell all gloom and doom. It's just like this, just the tattoo thing was just like, sir, first of all, you need to. Goes back to like, I always find a way to bring up Kanye, but you need to have some people around you to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to listen to them when they tell you you're wrong, because clearly he didn't care. And I don't know. This is the hard part. I don't know if it was a deliberate decision, because it could just be like, hey, I'm going to use this. And truthfully, his base believes anything he says. So if they believe it, does it matter if people don't believe it? Especially if you're using the fake news tag. If I say your shirt is blue, right? You said it's green. I said, I know it's fake. And somebody else believes that what you said is fake. Your shirt's not blue.
Well, I was going to go into, to piggyback off that, the younger generation coming up, would they even care? Like, do they even care? Like, we care, obviously.
Yeah, that's a whole nother scary conversation.
Like, they might just take everything, whatever it is, and if it's real, it's real. And if you tell me it's fake at some point in time, cool, whatever, I don't care. That, I think, if you ask the question, okay, what can we do? How do we make sure the generations coming after us keep the thought process of, hey, everything ain't real and everything that you think is real can be fake? Well, I don't know. It's confusing.
I think the biggest thing there is like we can't do it from a generational aspect. Like I think we have to think of one-offs, right? I think one of the things we need to do is, your kids and the people around you, you really need to challenge them to critically analyze stuff. Hey, is this a real thing? Is this? Did you do any extra research to check and see if this is a thing? Do you agree with this point? X, Y, like whatever. Because I think that it's very easy for people to get lost in that, right? Like, oh, is this a real thing or not? It doesn't matter. Like, when the kids were out there, eating Tide Pods, right? That's a trend that everybody was doing. They knew
cinnamon challenge.
Well, the cinnamon challenge is a little safer.
What? You could die.
Yeah, but you're more likely to die from biting chemicals.
Well, yes.
Cinnamon, you might choke.
You might.
They're both stupid.
Yeah, they're both stupid.
They're both stupid. But
okay, we can agree with that.
Yeah,
they're both
if you want to
stupid.
say potentially detrimental to your life, I think
the Tide Pods.
The Tide Pods are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of those things that are just a thing that happens. So I don't know, man. I mean, we could keep going on for this. This is also another one I feel like we need a part 2 as things develop, and maybe I would love to speak to someone who actually works on developing some of the AI and some of this and stuff that we're using, and hear their concerns. Because right now what we get is a lot of the concerns of, like, you get the overblown, they're taking our jobs, they're faking our creative attributes and stuff like that. But like, what are the socio-economic changes that would happen from this? Like, are we gonna gain speed to fix some stuff, but does that mean we lose
integrity,
ability to do certain things? Yeah. Right? Like integrity, like, I'd be intrigued to talk about that. But
yeah,
we might circle back on this. What do you have any final thoughts?
I think just the final thoughts on the deep fake thing. I would say if I was to classify it as like, oh, is this good, bad, okay? I do think it's getting dangerous. I'm sorry, the Shador Sanders thing just
It threw you off.
yeah, because there's already certain things about his character that people feel concerns about, and then someone thought it was cool. They even did this with Russell Wilson. Like, it's very dangerous because some people might not care and just think it's real.
Yeah, that's the scary
And so the deep fake technology is concerning to me. I would just say, hey, do your due diligence of researching it. Because like even with the news thing I was telling you about, I didn't just believe that a bunch of people was falling off the boat, like at the way it was happening, and it just looked crazy to me. So I would just say fact check some things if you can, and be careful what you believe in.
Yeah,
Like because like see it, believe what I see isn't a thing anymore.
The thing about it that's scary is that, especially now when there's an attack on stuff like Wikipedia, right? Like, like those are stuff that's supposed to be independent sources of truth. What's going to happen when some of those things are removed? What's going to happen when you search something on Google and the first thing you find is not real? That's the scary part about all of this stuff. It's like we're operating in a reality that is being like actively manipulated, and there's some people who are going to have a whole existence that doesn't match anything that we saw. They talk about like the Mandela effect.
Yes,
a lot of that stuff, it's hard to really process the fact that it's not what we remembered. It's not what we remembered at all. So imagine when that's happening at a large technological stage where it's like even the things that that we talked about are no longer removed. They're no longer accessible. So
yeah,
I don't know. This is it's a very large it's definitely a very large elephant in the room, and I don't know if there's a definitive like step to get us to the next level.
Right, to fix it or anything like that. Yeah.
But as I said, we're gonna try to find some people to talk to about this, because I think that we definitely need some outside advice,
input.
some
Yeah.
viewpoints,
Yeah.
So if you made it this far, definitely appreciate you. So this has been another episode of Juxtapose. Peace.
Peace.